This is gonna work just fine today. Let me refresh my screen so it's live. Let's see, can you see me okay? It's horizontal today. I think my link is right. Now I'm just waiting for my iPad video to update. Oh, there's a little bit of a delay. Welcome in, guys. Today is going to be my last tutorial for Halloween rocks. I am going to adjust just slightly here. Get close to the edge of the table. Make sure my workspace is where my face is able to see really well. Welcome in. Hello, Brenda. So we've got a few people here already. I saw that there was a couple people waiting. I've got 3 new tutorials. Well, they're not all brand new, but 3 tutorials we're going to be doing today to finish off my last 15 rocks. And then I will have 101 rocks completed for my trick-or-treaters. So I have one really super simple rock we've done in the past before. We're going to do some transparent ghosts. I have a new one. You guys know I love to share my little doodle Post-its, but we're going to make some cute candy corn flowers. Tammy, you're painting rocks today. That's awesome. And then I have some of these really big stones left over, and I know a lot of people have a hard time with lettering, so we are going to write Happy Halloween, really pretty, but we're going to start with super basic lettering, and I'm going to show you how to give your basic lettering to look like it's beautiful hand lettered script, even if you're not great with hand lettering. Yes, definitely paint along. If you've got rocks, you can paint along with me today. This is going to be live speed. Obviously, after the video is over, I go and I edit them down. I just got done editing my zombies from yesterday. Those were so much fun. Let me go grab one. I have to share in case you weren't here yesterday. But we did these really adorable zombies yesterday, if you were here. So I just got done editing that down into its own individual video so that I can post that probably either later today or tomorrow here on YouTube. And of course, I'll share it over on Facebook and other places as well. So we've got a few people here already watching live with us. So hello, hello. Obviously, if you're watching the replay, you can kind of pan forward till you see that I'm doing stuff. But it takes a moment for me to say hello. You have just started on a zombie, fun. If you paint any rocks, go find the posts over on Facebook because you can share comments with pictures over there. And I love, love, love seeing the ones that you guys have done. So I'm going to start and do a couple of the transparent ghosts to get started. I'm going to bounce back and forth between my rocks so that as people come in and out of the video, they can kind of jump in and they'll still see some of the other designs. Now these take some dry time, so we're going to start with these. Now I did transparent ghosts in the past. Before when I did them, I believe I used my glitter paint pens, but we're just going to use our pastel colors. If you've been following along, I've been using all my pastel colors for these. They're just going to make all my rocks look a little cohesive. So I'm going to outline the outer edge of what I want my ghost to look like. So I always have a little pinch around my neck, but then I'm going to use the shape of my rock to kind of define my ghost's actual shape. So I'm going to pinch in and do a head here because I do like to have kind of a head shape. But once you pinch in for that neck, the bottom part of your ghost can kind of float wherever, and I'm actually going to have him float all the way off of the rock down here. Now, the main thing with these ghosts is that your outside edge is what you want it to look like. So we're just going to put a nice layer of paint here, and these are water-based paint pens, which is important for this. Now I've got a paintbrush back here with just a little bit of water on it, and I'm going to put a little paint in the center here, and then I'm going to take my tip of my paint pen just along the edge where we just put that. Now you got to be very careful not to go over your edge. See how it'll kind of pull that paint color in. I am going to turn my rock here. And it will make this really cool transparent ghost effect. I'm just taking the very, very tippy tip of my paintbrush, and I'm going to kind of get that paint going. You want to fill the entire inside with water here so that it goes all the way to the inside. Doesn't that look cool? Does anybody remember these from last year? So I'm going to put my brush back in my water so that it gets that blue out. And then we're just going to let that set to the side and dry, because we will give him a face. But it just is this really neat effect that you can do because these are water-based. So let's go ahead and do our purple one here. So again, even though this is tall and skinny, I do want to have a neckline to it. So we're going to pinch in just a little bit to give ourselves a head. And then I'm going to kind of just flow out towards the bottom of our rock. I'm going to go right back in there with my damp paintbrush. And just be careful not to go over the line. You don't want to go over the line. Now you can use this technique for other things. Somewhere back in my mess of a desk, I have some stacked hearts I did this way. And I did stack the ghosts last year. I had a bigger rock that I was working with, and I actually stacked my ghosts. So if you let it dry in between, you can layer them and you'll get kind of a layered color where the two combine. I'm really curious if I know where that one's at. I feel like I just saw it. If it's at a quick reach, I'd grab it, but I don't. Well, it's not right by me. If it was right by me, I'd show you. But you can stack them. I had some stacked hearts that I had been working on. Now, same thing though. You can do this with acrylic paint as well. Same thing, just get that edge with your acrylic paint and then add your water. I'm gonna let these two sit to the side over here and kind of dry a little bit. You can see my blue sat a little bit longer, and so you can kind of see a little bit of the edge of the blue there. So you wanna work fast, oops, excuse me. You wanna work fast. If it really bothers you, you can see that edge, you can always do another layer of the blue once this one dries as well. But see, we got a much better fade here because we only did, I wasn't talking so much. Maybe I got in there a little bit faster. Yes, Tammy mentioned that this definitely works best on a white stone. I think I did one on like this color stone and it was okay. If you want to base coat your stones with like a white chalk paint, just make sure it's not glossy paint, a white chalk paint or a matte paint. That'll work for that as well. All right, we're gonna set those to the side and we're gonna go ahead and do one of our candy corn flowers. So if you were here right when we jumped off, I shared my candy corn flower doodle. So that's what we're gonna do here. So I've got these stones over here off to the side that we were gonna use for those. So just my little doodle piece of paper. Whenever I'm using paint pens, I'm always doodling on a piece of paper just to keep them flowing really well. Now for our candy corn flower, we're gonna give ourselves our center circle first. Make sure you can see me well here. I'm just gonna place that down first. And I am actually gonna place my stem on. I know a lot of times I put my petals down first, but I want my stem down so I can do my petals around it. So just a preference thing on this design. I'll show you why here when I start building, and we can add some texture and grass down there later, but I just want my stem on here. Get a little bit thicker. Now, when you're building your candy corns, it goes white in the center, orange, and yellow. If you have problems remembering what order, just think of a kernel of corn is yellow on the outside, and closest to the center of your corn cob is white, and then the orange just goes in the middle. So I've got my white here, and this is how we're going to space out our petals. Is we're going to create these little tips of our petals where the white would be of our candy corn. And I am going to start on either side of, I'll bring it up close. I'm going to start on either side of my yellow, and I'm going to create a triangle point towards the center of the flower. So it's going up towards the center of the flower. And that's really the first candy corn here is going to decide the rest of your design. So we're going to do one there and then one on the other side. Trying to match size-wise, because that's going to be the tip of each one. And then that's kind of the gap I want to have in between each one, aiming towards the center. So we're going to just work our way around with our little white triangles. Oops, that one a little closer. Just making sure that the points are going towards the center of your flower. I'll fit two more here. Ooh. All right, so now we've got our whites all the way around. And most of these are going to need a second coat on this dark. This is a little bit darker of stone. I probably should have done it on this one first. So you would be able to see it better, but maybe you wouldn't be able to see the white as much. So, all right, so we've got our white. Then we're going to do our orange section. It's just so much easier. I know it's further away. I wonder if I can zoom in. How about that? Let's see if that's a little bit better. It's easier for me to keep it on the surface. So then we're going to continue that triangle outward with our orange. There's like a little something on my pen. I'm gonna probably line this. It's getting a little, I lost that white into that stone quite a bit. Yeah, this is our first one. We'll do some zhuzhin on this one here. So, like I said, I'm working off my Post-it. That's all I've got so far is my Post-it. So this is the first one I've put to stone. So sometimes when something doesn't always translate to stone 100% the way that you want, we're going to work through it though. Okay, I might give that orange just a second to dry actually before I come in with my yellow. I think the whites maybe were a little bit too big, and my orange tip is just a little bit wide to get in there. See if I can find my extra fine tip orange while that dries a second. I'm not 100% sure. This is a darker orange. I'm not 100% sure if this has got very much. Yeah. So I'm going to come back in here, take this orange just a smidge further up. A little more solid here. Guys, I think this will work better. Coming onto that tip just a little bit more. All right. All right, we're gonna let that looks better to me already. Okay, I'm gonna let that go for a second. The yellow is really gonna make that pop let's do, should we do another ghost real quick while that dries? Because this won't take very long. So we're going to do another ghost. This one, now that I'm zoomed in, I got to make sure that I stay in the frame really well here. So again, with our ghost, we're going to pinch in where our neck would be somewhere. And give him a big head. And then we're going to flow off the bottom of our rock here. And go right in there. Get to it while it's still wet. Make sure the full center area of your ghost is wet so that that paint kind of pulls through and around while it's drying. You see how these are kind of finishing up over here already. I can still see some wet on that orange. So we're going to do our faces on these ghosts really quickly. And you know what? We had done, maybe I'll add a little. We did ghosts holding things this year, like holding like plants and things like that. But we could make this have like a little hand if we wanted to have it holding something solid, like a heart or something, like a little ghost holding a heart. I don't know, do I want to do that or not? So to do that, we would just add another layer, like an arm. Tammy, you only got 5 petals. Yeah, they kind of were starting to kind of cluster together. So this one, we're working through this. This is going to be a work in progress style one. It's going to be cute when it's done. I'm going to test giving an arm here. So this is dry. So I'm just going to come back in here and create like the hand shape like we were doing before. I'm going to dry a good amount of the water off this brush because I only have to saturate just this one spot. And I'm going to very carefully nudge the edge of that just so it's not a solid line. Maybe even pull it just a little in both directions like that. All right. We're going to have him hold something. We're going to give that a second to dry. We're going to put a face on this one. All right. So we're just going to put our eyes and our mouth. I'm looking for my extra fine tip paint pen. All right, so 2 big eyes. Little mouth. We'll come back and give him some highlights in just a few moments. So we got to decide, what are we going to have our ghost? Do we want him holding a heart? Do we want him holding like I don't know what we're going to have him hold. So we'll just do our eyes for now. I think about that. Anybody have any suggestions? What should we have our little ghost holding? There we go. Little ghost face. All right, our oranges. We'll think about that. If anybody's got a suggestion for what our ghost shall hold, drop it in the comments. Now I got to make sure candy. Okay, our ghost holding candy. Okay, I'm going to. All right, so we're just going to do a little stripe. Like candy corns don't have a big amount of yellow. It's just like a stripe, and it's a little bit curved. All right, zoomed in. So, but now I got to be careful not to come out of frame. All right, so we're going to give us this edge, and that's really what's going to make it look like a candy corn, is that little edge. I'm just going to get all the way around here, and we'll see what we're looking with here. It almost looks like a windmill to me. Not a flower. I'm going to get the petal or a leaf maybe. These are petals. Maybe get a leaf going down below and some grass. Decide if I want to line this or not. Maybe we have our, there we go. All right. Let's add a little bit more white in the tips of those. They just look very rock colored right now. So maybe that'll help kind of the petals pop a little bit more. Just yeah, they're looking a little more like candy. Yeah, they're looking a little bit better. Let's give our flower a leaf. I feel like the leaf's going to kind of help pull that flower together. Just worried about the size of the rock. If we come in here, we're going to line this. I just don't want to lose a lot of our... I don't think I'll do lines in between. I think I'll just do each petal separate, and then the center. We'll see. We're going to let that sit. A piece of candy. What kind of candy? Let's do a highlight here. Okay, little highlights. Make sure I'm in frame. So just gonna dot in the same spot, and then one below. Dot in the same spot, one below. Linda, you like the candy corn flower? Okay, I'm getting there. I'm not in love with it yet, but I'm my own worst critic all the time. I tend to always be the hardest on myself. It's not quite 100% there yet. I'm going to try lining it to see if I like the way that it looks lined. The lining might look thick at first, but you can always zhuzh the colors back into the lining a little bit. So that's kind of the fun of live, is you guys get to see me work through things that I don't love. Like if I don't love it, I'm going to figure it out so that I love it. We did do a bubble gum trick-or-treater a few years ago. That might be what you're thinking of. I just want to make sure it's extra recognizable and what he's holding for sure. All right, let's do another transparent ghost. What color do I need? So I need my pink and my teal. So I'm going to get the rest of these transparent ghosts, these last two, down real quick. And then we're going to go after that thing. All right, so again, a little pinch for the neck, wherever that head's going to be. And he's going to kind of be floating forward. So we're going to have him kind of going off the back. And get right in here. And obviously I'm doing these in these pastel colors. Do these in whatever colors you guys want. I mean, the pastel is just a thing so that my picture of my 101 rocks is going to look so awesome. I'm very excited to add these last 15. This is my 5th day live, basically. And I cranked through all of them. I mean, we started last week with the lives, and it's been a lot of fun. Flew by. I've had some people say that they really do enjoy the lives. I didn't really do a lot of lives over here on YouTube for a long time, just because we have a lot more people that follow along over on Facebook, but the quality of the live over here on YouTube was better. And so I can actually save the videos again. I wasn't able to save the lives anymore over, so I had to edge the videos over on Facebook anymore. They were just a little too grainy to keep them. So we might try a couple lives later on through the year, maybe some holiday rocks, some Christmas rocks. So just make sure that you have your notifications on YouTube turned on. I usually do try to share when I'm going to be going live over on YouTube to our Facebook feeds and things like that as well. So so that you don't miss it. Okay, there we go. Teal, done. All right, all 5 ghosts. The pink might need a second coat. That's a very light color. This is just water, yes. So make sure you're using water-based paint pens for this. But yeah, I'm just using a little bit of water just to get that paint flowing a little bit. All right, let's line this. We're gonna line it with our extra fine tip. Again, I can come back in here afterwards and bring the color further out. So I can't talk and line very well at the same time. Yeah, see my petals got a little closer together on this side. But if you're watching, you can notice, so if you're trying to shift your petal slightly, like I wanted to shift this one slightly, so I made my lining on the outside on this edge and kind of on top. So you can kind of play around with your shapes slightly when you're doing your lining. I don't love this, you guys. I might not do more of these. I know you guys said that you think it's cute, but I'm not super happy with it. I guess this one looks like it's about to fall off. Maybe that's where all the candy corns come from. It's from candy corn flowers. Yes, acrylic paint will move. Yes, you could do this with acrylic paint too. So you could paint your outline with your acrylic paint and just bleed it out as well, the same exact way. We've actually base coated rocks simultaneously, myself and my daughter together, where we were base coating a bunch using paint pens with this method and acrylic paint with this method. So you can definitely do both. I'm putting this to the side. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm not in love with it. It's not my favorite rock. So I might do something else on the rest of this. We'll see. We'll see where we land. We're going to let our ghosts kind of hang out to the side, and we're going to work on one of these nice big rocks. Now, I'm not guaranteeing I'm going to sit here and do all 5 of these giant rocks just because I'm going to take my time with this. Here, this one's even bigger. As big as possible so you guys can really see what I'm doing. I'm going to turn regular handwriting into a pretty hand-lettered looking Happy Halloween. We're just going to do this in a nice, crisp black lining. You could do this in whatever color you want to. Once I have the lining on here, I might add some fun stuff just to kind of zhuzh it up a little bit, but I really want this to be like a monotone black and white, almost not really white, but it's black and stone. I think it will look really pretty like on a mantle as well. What do you use to varnish? Do you mean to seal them? So I use a combination of a lot of different things for sealing. I use brush on, spray on. I've started playing around with using UV resin. I've got loads on the site about that. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is just write Happy Halloween just in regular lettering on our rock. Now, I've talked about this before, like with really long words, like Halloween. If you're like most people, like you'll start writing a word way over here, and you'll be like Halloween, and then you're like, oh no, E-E-N, you're trying to fit it in there. Maybe it's just me, I don't know. But so a big word, the O is the middle. So if you start by writing your O in the middle, and then you go to the left and then to the right, it just helps you out a little bit, okay? So that's just a little trick, you know. So Obviously you can have your H be bigger, but for Halloween, the two L's don't take up a lot of space, so it actually works out really well. So you can play around with it from that point. That's just kind of like a little jumping off point. So we're gonna put our O right about here. I'm just using a pencil on here because I'm gonna go right over it with paint pen. I'm gonna wait a second. I've got a little slight delay here, but I wanna make sure you can see the pencil on there. That's the best tip. I mean, it really does help. Okay, I can see the pencil. I know it's not very dark, but you're going to be able to see once I go over it with my black paint pen too. But I make mistakes as well, and I don't even know where my if I've got an eraser nearby or not. I usually keep a white eraser. Yes, I have one. Like this kind of style eraser so you don't get pink on your rocks. All right, so we got our O. We're just going to write regular letters for now. W, E, E, N, okay, then L, L, A, H. Now once you have it on there in our pencil, we can decide, do we want it more in or do we like it? When we're lining it, we can obviously make some adjustments and things like that as well, but see, it's just really basic Halloween on there, okay? And then I'm gonna write happy up here. H, A, P, P, Y. Just really, really basic there, okay? Now I'm using an extra fine tip paint pen. This is actually a pretty big rock. I could get away with probably a bigger one, a bigger paint pen, but I'm just gonna stick with this because I've got it nearby. All right, so the trick with the hand lettering is usually when people are hand lettering, they're using these brushes, and when they press harder, they get fatter, and then when they lift up, they get skinnier because they're actually, you know, I don't even have a good brush to use as an example, but they're using a brush. That's why it's like brush lettering or whatever. So that's just like a little rule of thumb, is if you're thinking about when you're writing your letter, when it's a downward stroke, that in general can be thicker, okay? So when I write my letter H, I go down and down, okay? So those are gonna be thicker lines. So first we'll draw it on here regular. Okay, here, I'll write on here, H, A, L. We'll start with that, okay? So now our downward strokes, we're gonna make thicker. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of a thickness to the right-hand side. And this is when you can make adjustments to your lettering as well. Like say you wanna move your design a little bit closer together. So you're putting it on the right. If when I first wrote it, my H and A were really close together, I could add my thickness off to the left-hand side. I want my letters to be a little skinnier. For some reason, Halloween makes me think of that. So instead of going to the left here, I'm gonna go to the right as well for this downward stroke. Okay, so we're just gonna thicken this up. And now we can always make our letters thicker when we come back through, okay? For now, I'm just gonna get them down, okay? Now for the letter A, when you write a letter A, you go up and then down, and then back up again, and then down. So down here, right? That was the second down, and then down here on the left-hand side of the A. And again, you can go off to the left or off to the right, depending on where you've got the extra space. And then that one singles up, okay? So we've got two letters down on our rock. Now you can decide how loopy, you know, swoopy and loopy you want your lettering to be. And you can connect these letters together. So a lot of times with like a cursive L, so we've got our A, L, sorry, I made that a little extra monkey tail. But that's what we would add. We'd add, so we've got our downward stroke like this for now, but we can add this little up loop to get us to our L. And if you want, you can add a thing up there like that, because we're gonna thicken this down here. If you don't like it extra loopy, you don't have to. You can just have this little tail come into the side of the L and just add the downward, okay? You don't have to always add loops, but you can add loops. Make sure I'm still centered here. So I do like to create an attachment between my letters a lot of the time, but not sure how loopy I want this one to be, but I am going to have it come and attach to my L. So if it's swooped up, the L would be a downward stroke, right? So we're going to go ahead and make that a downward stroke. And I am going to give it a little curl at the end because that way I can attach it to this L at some point in time. So that would be a downward stroke. And I'm not going to have it go as tall. That's just a me thing. I'm going to try to have it follow kind of the same length. I'm dropping it a little bit. I can have that go there now. Okay, now we have our O. So let's write on a couple more letters here, okay? So we're just going to write our O on here. Now, I'm not going to connect my O all the way, only because I know. So just leave it open, just a smidge. Trace our W. Our E. And we'll do our N here too. Okay, so we've got all of our letters on there. See the difference from left to right already? And this was just our first pass over here. After we get everything on here, we are going to actually heavy up that downward stroke so that it definitely stands apart from the upward strokes. So we're just going to get everything on here first. And then we really start to play and zhuzh things up a little bit. So you can decide if you want to make this pop all the way up. I don't think I really want it to. So O, the downward stroke is on the left-hand side. So we're going down here. Get around the corner, that's up. And then if you want to add a swirl to get it to your W, you curl back in and then attach. Okay, and then that down on that little hook there, you can add just a little bit of weight, just like that. Okay, now on the W, we're going to go down on the left side, you go up, down on the left side, up. Okay, so the right side is actually going to be small. Now to connect our W to E, we can just add a little swoop. Like that. And then E is down along the back side. And you can attach it along the back side here. Okay. And then you can come up here, this will be down and down. All right, so we got the word Halloween on our rock, and we just started with regular lettering like the happy. And we went from happy lettering like that to this cool Halloween. So if you say you can't hand letter, I know that this still takes practice. I understand that. However, you can start with your super basic letters and you can do this, okay? You can get it down. All right, I am going to come back and make my H a little bit bigger, a little more bold here. And once you've got your thicknesses, feel free to adjust your rock. I try not to turn my rock upside down and stuff when I'm still doing my up and down strokes because I might lose track of which way my direction is. But once you know, okay, this is down, whoop, this one's a downward stroke, it's going to be thicker. You can turn your rock around and kind of get your nose down here and get your lines right where you want them. I'm going to make this H a little heavier at the bottom than at the top too. I'm just going to kind of make it thicker. Like that. I like that. I want my be a little wider here too. Notice I am taking my time. I know a lot of the videos you see online are so fast, but that's because people are speeding them up so that they can get so much information. Like the shorts here on YouTube, they have to be under 60 seconds. So trying to fit everything in under 60 seconds is tricky. And it often gives the illusion that something is faster than it really is. I kind of want this end to drop a little lower too. Add a little hook on that end there. All right, I'm liking that. Is anybody working on rocks right now? What are we painting? What are people painting back here? I know we had a couple people painting. We've got 16 people here watching live. So hello, hello. Thanks for hanging with me. So there we go. We've got Halloween. Let's get happy on here, right? So let's just line our letters first. I naturally add that little hook. I grew up learning lettering with monkey tails. You guys remember that? I used to put a little tail on the end of almost everything. And you can decide what you want to do with that Y. Like you can really swirl it and swoop it around. All right, so we're gonna thicken up our downward strokes again. Just same thing we did with our first word. We are working around another word, so you can kind of decide where you want your lettering to go to kind of bring the two words together. So I'm gonna bring this way down here, kind of into each other's space a little bit. Okay. And then our A is really pretty close to that H, so I'm going to go a little to the left and then probably a little to the right to give it its weight. And then down, and then we're going to swoop up into that letter P, the downward stroke on the P. And then this one would be down on the outer edge. And then you can swirl this around to touch it if you want to. I don't really want to for some reason. I don't know why. I don't want to have the swirl swirl. I am going to have this one go in to the Y. You can make your own rules with your rocks, whatever you want to do. All right, this would be down. Whoop, I just slipped. And then that would go back up. So I'm going to just kind of go this way. There we go. Happy Halloween. All right, you see how easily we were able to do that? Well, easy might not be the right word, but see how we are able to do that, to learn that skill. Just nice and simple. I don't know if I want to add anything to this. I kind of like this nice, like clean. Sometimes I think like people like to keep these things, like I could see this just sitting. I have my mantle that I decorate. I'm going to leave that like that for now. Happy Halloween. All right, let's finish up our ghosts. I still don't know what I'm doing about the candy corn, you guys. I still don't love it. All right, let's put our eyes on the rest of our ghosts here. So 2 wide side eyes. You know what? What do you guys think? He's very transparent. He's going to get another coat. I think he needs more pink. So we're going to do that. Sorry, I'm all over the place, guys. Keep up. We're just going to get a little bit more down in the body here. It's a very light color compared to some of these other ones. Just because I wanted just a little bit more saturation. Just a smidge. We'll let that one sit to the side. All right. We're going to do our eyes here. Am I in frame? Yes. Okay. So 2 wide set eyes. Little itty bitty mouth. Itty bitty mouth. You know what? I think I'm going to have him holding a purple heart, like he's holding this ghost's heart. I feel like it's going to need an outline, but I don't want the outline as thick as... So I'm going to do the outline first so that I can bring the color all the way to the edge. Because sometimes there'll be a little thick of an outline. So I'm going to take the purple and I'm just going to go right on top of that outline to give him a little heart. So only because, don't you guys love that you get to get inside of my, the way my thought process works? Only because everything else that I have done this Halloween season has had a lot of pastels and stuff. So I was thinking about adding polka dots to this, like actually doing black polka dots and adding the color on top of the polka dots. What do you guys think? I think I might do that. I mean, if I hate it, I've got 4 more that I can do. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just start making... Do I want them outlined in black or do I want them just dotted on there? I feel like if they're not outlined in black, they'll look wrong. I think you need the black outline. These are very high quality pens. You get what you pay for. They work great and they last a long time. Guys, I'm just torn on how I want to do this. Usually I'm much more decisive than this. It's just too plain. I can't just leave it like this. I think I'm going to add the dots. Yeah, I have links to a lot of the paint pens. All of the paint pens probably that you see here are in the link in our description. Shopping pins over on Amazon. You guys, I'm really torn on this one. The joys of life. These L's don't match quite yet. Maybe I'll fix that while I'm thinking about it. Well, I'm worried if I start adding the dots, then I might want to add color to the letters themselves. And I don't know that I want to do that. Just walking you through what's going through my mind right now, so I'm not just sitting in silence. Maybe we can have like a web or something coming down. You guys, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. Do little candy corn with white dots. Yeah, it's funny because I was thinking about candy corns and I'm so mad about this candy corn flower right now that I'm not sure I want to go after the candy corns again. I don't know why this one's just bothering me. It looks like this petal is falling off. I feel like it should have had maybe these needed to be tighter together. Maybe I need to actually draw on the petal shapes first and then fill them. Maybe I can get it to look a little bit more cohesive that way. Or maybe I should just draw a complete circle, like do 3 circles, or technically 4, so that we have the center. Do the yellow, white, orange, yellow as circles, and then just use lining to divide it up into petals. Maybe I'll try that and see if that works. But for now, we're going to color in our heart because I know I want to do that. Okay, so we're going to go right in here. I'm just going to dab the paint, like kind of dot it on. And that way I can get this nice round. I'm going to get all the way, I'm going to do one side onto the lining a little bit so you can see the difference here and catch what I mean by that. Like if you get real close, you can kind of trim that line up a little bit. See how much thinner it is on the right hand side? So that's what I'm going to do on the other side as well. There we go. Oh, he's cute. See, so it's like, oh. All right, we'll move our little happy little couple. Leave them right there while we do our highlights on these guys. I think I'm going to try drawing the petals and then filling them next. I'm going to try lining with yellow. My yellow just is never that dark, so I always worry that I have a hard time lining the same thing twice without messing up my lines. So if you just saw, I dab in the same spot multiple times to make my dot bigger instead of wiggling so you don't accidentally pull up paint from the black underneath. Look at our eyes on this one so that I can have some time. Okay. I think the reason I'm having a problem with the lettering on this is polka dots seems too cheerful to me for Halloween. I think that's why I'm having a hard time with it. And I thought about adding like dangles and doing a dangle design for Halloween. And I've done a happy Halloween like that before. But there's not a lot of underspace on this to do that. I would have had to shift my design upwards so that you'd have plenty of space underneath for the Halloween dangles. Maybe I'll do one with Halloween dangles just for fun. All right. I'm just going to go for it. Some people like cute Halloween, right? All right. I'm zoomed in a little bit. I zoomed in for the flower because it was smaller. Let's do that. We're going to try the flower. We're going to do it different this time. I'm going to line it and then color it in instead. to see if I can get my shapes. Let me brainstorm a moment. How are we doing? Are you guys painting still? Are we hanging in there? I'm doing a doodle. Here, I'll bring you in so you can see what I'm doodling over here. So if we did like a bullseye, essentially, all the way around, right? I don't have to do the whole thing. My doodles are very rarely look fabulous. And then there would be a ring of yellow on the outside like that, right? Just shaking it so it can dry a little bit over here. We're going to see if this looks a little bit better. All right. This might be our way to go. I didn't leave myself a center circle, so we'll have to do that. The whites shouldn't be that thick anyways, right? Okay, so that would be yellow. So if we kind of went in like that, but then I'd have the divides. Pumpkins. So I kind of like that. I think that kind of works. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just draw on my flower and then we're going to fill it. I think that's going to be our best bet. And then I might only just do those two. All right. So we're going to just draw our flower on. I'm going to give ourselves our center. All right. And then we're going to just do petals that remind me of the shape of a candy corn all the way around. Okay. We're just going to start with that. Where did my lid go? There we go. I need a little sip of water. Pumpkins. I did do one pumpkin yesterday. I did a whole bunch of the cute pumpkins. I think I did 10 of them earlier. All right. I'm going to go ahead and add on my stem while this black gets a second to set. So we'll put him right in between there. Give him a little thickness. A leaf. I like to have ground. I don't like my stuff floating. A little grass, just a little something there. Good morning, Wanda. All right. So now I do want the center of the flower to be yellow, so we'll go ahead and get that in there. And we're going to do the same thing where we can kind of come right up to that edge. And then I'm going to go ahead and do my yellow stripes around the outside edge. And I'm kind of curving down just a little bit. Just a bit. I don't know if you can see that. Make sure you guys can see that. Yeah. So I don't know if these ones would be considered a batch one. These ones seem a little bit more tedious already to me, maybe because they just didn't start off super easy for me. We'll see. We'll see how this one comes together. I'm already happier with it, to be honest. All right, so we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna do our white tips, and then we'll come in and do the orange after those two dry. All the way around. All right, so we're gonna let that dry just a moment. Here, let's go ahead and finish up this one. Then we'll have 5 finished rocks. Woo. There's 5. Means we're down to 10 left till we're finished. All right. What did I do with the, orange? I had the extra fine tip orange over here. I know I did. Oh, it's up here. All right, so we're gonna go filling in the rest of the candy corn because most of it is orange. Are you a person that actually eats candy corn? I actually like candy corns, but I only buy 2 bags a season. I have a specific skull they sit in, and when they're gone, they're gone. I know people either love them or hate them. I feel like I want a little more yellow on this guy, so I'm going to leave a little space. So as you work your way around, you can decide how much of each color you want. All right, this definitely looks more like what I had in my mind when I was thinking about doing these. Very cute. Okay, one last section here. Oh, I went right into my white. Got carried away there. We'll fix that. I guess sometimes the candy corns have flaws in them too, right? All right, we're gonna let that dry so that I can come back in with the yellow, but well, I don't know. I feel like that actually looks more like candy corn now that I'm looking at it. I don't know. What do you guys think? I might just, maybe we'll come up with, I have more rocks. Maybe these ones won't make the cut. Maybe I need just to do a whole different thing. I don't know. I'm very indecisive today, you guys. I think it's because I've done so many of these. My mind is been frazzled by Halloween rocks, literally. I mean, we're in the home stretch here, the final 10 rocks. So I guess maybe that's why. You think both are cute. You're very sweet, Tammy. I don't know how I feel about it. I was liking this one, then I didn't like it. Let's get this yellow in here. Maybe I just actually want that lining a little more prominent to separate them a little bit. This one definitely looks more like a flower. The other one actually looks more like candy to me, I guess. I'm trying to get that in between. Well, let's see here. Maybe if we... starting to come around to this one. I'll tell you that. This one's starting to not. The one on the right looks more candy cornish. Ah, but I moved them around. I think that was this one, right? Love them both, would make both of them. Okay. I like the feedback. So when I don't actually line grass, I just add a little bit of line work there. So let's line this. I think I don't like how thin the lining on this one ended up. So we're gonna go ahead and line it. It might actually, when you're lining, you can kind of create your shapes a little bit more, so I can kind of maybe create more of that candy corn look to it. Maybe give it more of a nib at the front. Maybe that's part of it. You know what, we might just do a couple cute candy corns on the rest of these so that they're at least just on the same theme. I'm gonna add some more yellow back in there. You guys. Oh, that's not the right green. Doesn't look like candy corn. Guys, gonna. Is it the color? Is it because that's darker? The white isn't white enough? I don't even want to fiddle with it, but I do, because here's the thing. I always fiddle until I'm happy enough to put it out into the world. And so you guys are going to watch me do my fiddling. A little bit today. All right. You know what's funny, Janet, is I thought about doing a smiley face, but then yeah, it would have to be a bigger center to start out with for sure. All right. These guys are moving to the side. I may or may not just do the rest. I like this one better. I think we can all agree this one looks a little bit more like candy corn. I think having them spaced apart, like this turned into too much like a flower. It looks like a flower that's inspired by candy corn. This looks like a candy corn flower to me. So I think they do need to be detached for it to give it that candy look, like they're separated pieces. I kind of, the more I'm looking at this one, the more I'm really liking that one. Okay, let's see. How long have we been on here? We've been on a little over an hour. I think I'm going to do one more rock, and then we're going to probably call it good, guys. So this will be the last one. I think I'm going to do a trick or treat rock maybe with I was thinking about doing the same kind of fancy lettering. But you guys, I think the same people have kind of been in here today, so I feel like almost everybody saw that. So I don't know that I want to do that again. I feel like everything went well, pretty quick. Okay, you know what? I think I'm actually going to give this one more go. Now that we established we like this one better, I think my problem was my spacing, so I'm going to show you a trick to kind of work on your spacing a little bit if you're laying out a rock like this. So to me, I have like one too many candy corns. Even my doodle, I had them spaced apart, and I should have left them more spaced apart like that. I think it would have definitely given more of the candy corn look. So we have 3, 6, 7, 8 here. This is 6. I think 7 would have probably been like the perfect number. Although this is a different size rock, so you never know. I guess everything could be mixed up a little bit more. So I painted a bunch of ghosts today. I don't know if you missed them. We did transparent ghosts today, earlier. I got a lot of ghosts on the page. I've done a few things of ghosts already for the season. All right, so we are going to place our circle down first, just to give ourselves something that we're working around. So if we want an odd number of petals, which we decided on 7 is what we were going to go for, then the first petal would be straight across from your stem. So I am going to put my stem on here just so that I have that down. So your first petal would be straight across from your stem, because they won't be actually across from each other if you've got an odd number. So I'm just going to put a little dash here. Okay, so that's our 1. And then we need 3 on either side of our stem and our single one here. So we're going to split our space into thirds, and this rock is not going to be fabulous for this. You know what? I'm just going to do it with dashes with the white, since we're going to use white anyways. You might be able to see it a little bit better. Okay, so here we put our 1 little dot here, okay, across from our stem, and then we have to divide this into thirds. Okay, so you're going to have to eyeball. You got to get 1, 2, 3 on here. So just 1, 2, 3. So if you space things out ahead of time, it should help. So 1, 2, 3. All right. So let's use that for our jumping off point this time and see if we can just be happy with our candy corn flower. I think this one's going to come together really, really well. And then I'll have a video that I can actually record. All right. So we're going to do the same thing though. We're going to start by creating our little triangles on here, pointing towards the center of our flower. Okay. So turn your rock pointing at the center of our flower. See, we got a little bit more spacing this time. I think that's going to help a lot. Okay, now that we have them all on there, now you can kind of create the tip shapes. A little bit of a roundness to it. All right, now I've got them all on here. All right. I think these are going to work better. All right, orange. The orange is going to need 2 coats, so just do 1 just to get it on there. Okay. We're gonna let that dry just a smidge before we go out with the yellow. And I can tell you already, I'm gonna like how this one. We worked our way through. So thanks for all you guys sitting around with me, working through the brainstorming process of how sometimes designs go from post-its onto rocks. It's not always super seamless. And a lot of times you don't see all the in-between mumbo jumbo that goes on. So, but I always like to at least have something when it's all said and done that's doable. And so I want it to be something you see and know, oh, okay, I can recreate that. And I think this one's going to be it. So thanks for sticking through it with me. Candy corn drama, right? You know, it's funny is people will start some candy corn drama because people either love it or they can't stand it, which I think is hilarious. We have all of our dressed up candy corns that we've done over the years. But I just wanted a fun candy corn design, something different this year. All right, I'm liking it again. I am liking it again. I'm gonna go in here and thicken up my stem just a smidge. Add on a leaf here. I'm gonna add on some grass here. I like it so much better. Obviously, it's gonna need another coat. It's gonna need its lining still, but so I am gonna let this dry. I am gonna line it before I do the second coat because that way I can get the second coat right in there. Like that's what I'm gonna do right now to this one here. So basically what I'm about to do here would be the second coat here once it's lined. So you can come in here and you can kind of go over that lining just the slightest bit. Work on your shape of your candy corn. So like the tips, you can have it, make sure that it's kind of rounded. They're not super pointy. They're kind of more of a round tip to it like that. So see, we got this one is really super pointy. Just go in there and just kind of round off that tip just a little bit. We're already looking more candy corn. Okay. So these are those tiny little things you can do on your rocks that most people might not even notice that you did do it, but once you do it, you go, oh, okay. That actually does make a difference. That little round tip. Because candy corns are not pointed. Plus then you get in your white just a little bit brighter in there. I think I made it all the way around there. See how that just kind of makes it more of that candy shape. And sometimes it takes all the way to when I'm like taking pictures to where I'll notice, oh boy, that doesn't look right, or I need to fix that. Sometimes I'll get off the live because I think I shared a picture of my desk when I was setting up, but my rocks are kind of out in front of me. I have to kind of lean up and forward so that you guys can see what I'm doing. Obviously, that's the point of the tutorial. But so sometimes I don't actually see an overhead view of my rocks all the time. So it's nice to, when I step away, sometimes I see something that I didn't catch during the tutorial. I'm just bringing that yellow all the way out to the edge here on some of these. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and line this. That way I can go back in with my colors again and get it all the way crisp up to the lining. And then I think I'm gonna call it today, guys. My brain fog is real today. You're welcome, Lori. I mean, like sometimes I feel like I mentioned this before, but if you weren't on here, you know, if you just catch the little quick 3-minute tutorial when this is all said and done, you'd be like, oh, so simple. And now that you've seen it live, you realize, oh, there is a lot that kind of goes into trying to figure out how designs work, how things translate from paper onto rock sometimes differently than you might think. All right. I messed up on that line. Cut into my yellow, so we'll have to. Okay, I'm happy now. I like this so much better. You'd be happy with any of them. Well, good, because somebody's getting all of them, because I might, since he doesn't match technically, I might do an extra one, just because, you know, I take pictures of all the rocks together and it's kind of fun to see them all finished and all together. All right, we're letting this guy dry. We did all of our highlights on our ghost. We did our pretty happy Halloween rock. If I decide to do anything extra to this rock, I'll film it and I'll share it, I promise. But for the most part, I'm just gonna go on here and do a second coat of all of the colors on here, and I am going to pull the color a little bit closer to the edge so that the lining isn't quite as thick, just because it is a smaller rock. So I don't really love like the super duper duper thick lines on a really small rock. But yeah, I'm just going to come in with each color and I'll come right up to that line and fill it in so that it's a little bit smaller, and then I can adjust my coloring. Like that one's going to need a little more orange, but so for those of you guys that hung out with me all day today, appreciate ya. I have a lot of film to go through, to do edits, to do a bunch of reels and 3-minute tutorials from what we did over this past, basically a week. I think the first live I did last week was on a Wednesday. So this was the 5th one that we did. Hopefully I've got you ready to just go out and paint a whole bunch of Halloween rocks. If you didn't catch before, I give mine out to my trick-or-treaters. So I had 15 left when I started today to have my 101 rocks, just like the page name 101. I started today needing 15. I've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 done. So we're really close to wrapping up. So stay tuned and follow along for pictures, because I'm going to take a bunch of fabulous pictures of all these rocks together. There we go. Our yellow's nice and bright. See, I think this color is better for the candy corn, but I don't have an extra fine tip in that color. I only have the fine tip. So I'm going to go in and do that color last so I don't actually pull any of that yellow. We'll come in and do our white again here. Make sure we keep our nice rounded tips. There we go. I know a few of you were painting rocks with me today. Did you guys get any finished? You have to come back and find us over spider dots on the sign. Oh, what did I decide to do on the Happy Halloween sign? I don't know. That's why I'm not doing it. I have sat through enough uncertainty for this live for the day. So when I decide to do anything, if I add anything to it, I promise I will film it. All right, the last little bit on this guy is just going to be that orange in the center. But this one turned out, I like this one so much better now that we went in there and crisped up our lines a little bit. A couple places I need to pull this line over and kind of cut into the bottom on that one. So I'm going to round it out just a little bit, and then I will come back and add just a smidge of yellow into that one. So like I said, I might kind of play around with them just a little bit, touching up, but other than that, these guys are done. It is officially the design. I'm going to dab over that black line. Oh, that's better. Oh, yes. Okay. I'm so happy when things decide to work out, because I was starting to get a little flustered there. You caught it in my voice, trying to figure it out on the fly. We're going to go in with our orange here. This guy is just a little bit wider, so I should have probably done this color first because it's the least pointed tip. So I am actually going to have to go a little bit right up to my other colors, and I'll have to clean them up again, but that's okay. As long as we're not blending. We don't want them blended. They are definitely 3 separate colors on the candy corn. All right, there we go. See, so now that I get this all the way over the edge, there we go. I can come back with the yellow and touch that up. Everywhere else with the orange is okay. Orange is not one of my favorite colors because it for sure takes more than one coat, and I am impatient. I don't like to wait for things to dry in between. All right. I'm not going to make you stay here while my paint literally dries. We're not going to stay here and just watch paint dry. But thanks for you guys that joined me live today so much. I promise I will keep you posted as to what we're going to do live when we do lives again. It might be a little while, but you guys seem to be enjoying them, so I will keep it in mind. And yeah, happy Halloween, everybody. I look forward to seeing your rocks. When I post on Facebook, make sure you come back and share the rocks that you have painted over there. Bye-bye.